Hello, my name is Michael Grasl from Manthey. I'm taking care about the performance street car at Manthey. And today I would like to show you some alignment details with the GT3 RS 991.2 with the Manthey Performance Kit. Beside the power of the car and the skill of the driver, especially setting up the car is quite important in order to improve the performance on track. So here today I will show you some figures how to adjust the car in order to make it performing as good as possible. As you can see, the car is already set up on the Manthey alignment system, which is also a special tool for Porsche centers worldwide. You can see, first of all, we took off the wheels of the car in order to make sure the mechanics and technicians have full access to all the adjustments and screws which are mandatory to adjust once you dial in the car. Further on, the car is sitting on scale tables where you can move the car easily, and in addition to that you can size up the measurement wheel in order to simulate the original rim. So this means we create a level by the laser in the front, and the level which you see here on the laser line simulates the street or the track. Therefore, it's possible to take different measurements on the car and of course adjust them. We start now with the first point, which would be the camber adjustment or the camber values. And the camber is a really important thing, especially on track, in order to check tire wear, but also the performance on car. I will show you this on the tire in order to explain you what really camber is. As you can see, the tire here, which is the original tire of the car, when we would talk about camber 0 degrees, this would be when the wheel is standing really straight. Of course, this would be good for longitude acceleration, but it doesn't work too good once you're cornering the car. Therefore, the cars are pre-adjusted, and the camber means that the wheel is simply angled in the car like this, which means it would run on the inside in the straight line, but especially on the cornering, let's do a turn to the right, the wheel would settle and lay its surface totally on track, which increases the traction on track especially. Further on, the second value would be the toe. Toe means more or less how the angle of the wheels towards each other would be. So if you're looking from the front, toe in would be when the front is towards inside of the car, and toe out would be if the wheel tends towards outside of the car. So just to give you an idea what we are talking about in terms of values. So I will guide you through now through all the adjustments, and we're gonna start with the camber on the front and on the rear. And for measuring the camber, we are using a camber gauge, which is just an easy tool used in motorsport quite often. It shows more or less the angle, how I put the gauge towards the surface, and this is what I'm doing here. As you can see, we straighten it up and we can see a value of 2.59 on the front. The target would be 2.6, so we are already really good and we don't have to adjust too much. In case we have to adjust on the Porsche, it's not contrary to all the other manufacturers that we have to do this on the top mount of the shock, but we simply have a 2-piece lower wishbone where we put just simply some distance spacers, or like we call them shims, in it. So we enlarge or shorten the lower wishbone, and therefore we simply change the angle of the wheel. This is what we do on the front, and on the rear it would be more or less the same. The only difference is that we don't have a top mount in the rear, but we have different pull rods with an eccentric bolt, and we can just adjust them, and so we also adjust the camber. The second point after the camber would be the toe. And the toe here on this system can be adjusted by using a laser point. So here you can see that black unit. It includes first of all a laser which points towards the rear end, but we also have a laser in the rear which points to the front. And by pointing to the front, it hits a scale, and the scale shows you the toe in or the toe out of the rear wheel. And here you can see we have a toe in, and the toe in faces about 2.6 millimeters on the rear wheel. We have to go for 2.5, so we will readjust it a little bit by just turning the toe rod in the rear. Once we did the camber and the toe on both axles, the next step would be to check the ride height of the car, front and rear. So join me from the other side and I will show you the ride height, how we measure it. We have some specific ride height points on the front and the back of the car, and when looking on the front it would be the lowest point of the trunk, and I will push just this measurement stick to that point and see where our laser hits that scale, because that shows us the ride height of the car on the front. While putting it here, you can see we are facing about 108 millimeters of ride height on the front, and as the given ride height is a little bit lower, it's quite easy to adjust that, because if you come with me again, we are lucky because on the GT models we are using coilover shocks on the front and on the rear, and the coilover shocks are easy adjustable by using a spring perch, and when we wind it up or down, we simply adjust the ride height of the car. Of course we do this on the front and on the rear because we want to adjust the rake of the car, which means the car tends to the front or to the rear, because this also is important for the handling of the car. And once we adjusted this, the final setup would be the corner weight balance, because the corner weight balance is also important for leveling out the car. So what we do is we simulate the weight of the driver by using some sandbags, and then we check the cross weight of the car. So this means we check the amount of weight from front left and right rear compared to front right and left rear. Because lots of people always think by adjusting the shocks you can shift some weight to the front, to the left or to the back, but that's not possible. It's always the cross weight which can be adjusted, and therefore we have a tablet which shows us our cross weight, and our perfect match would be 50%. So we will check this on the tablet and adjust, and once we're hitting 50-50, the car is ready to go on track. Setting up and aligning a car is for sure one of the most emotional topics around the GT community. And I would like to say that it's always depending on the model and of course the purpose of use, how to set up a car. Talking about the Manthey Performance Kit car, there is surely another focus in terms of use than, for example, for a car which runs mostly on highways or at everyday use. And therefore, there are pros and cons. Running more camber means there is not so much highway stability, and running less camber means you probably have some more wear of tire on the track. What is really important, not only the high performance cars for the track require alignment regularly, but every car uses this, because once you get a car out of the factory and it settles, everything ran in, is bedded in, then it's always recommended to do an alignment of the car from time to time in order to make it more precise and more comfortable to drive. If you have any more questions on that, you either contact your Porsche center or you contact us via DM here in the app. Have a good fun out there. Goodbye.